This is Jim Kukrow, founder of the Author Marketing Institute, and you're listening to the Author Marketing Podcast. If you're unfamiliar with the Author Marketing Institute and this podcast, you can learn more by visiting www.authormarketinginstitute.com. Are you a new or struggling author who wants to learn how to start selling books? It can be difficult to get your first sale and demoralizing to write your great book, but then not see anyone buying it. That's why we created a video course for you called Selling the First 100 Copies of Your Book. Selling Your First 100 Copies is the video course we wish we had when we started publishing. It goes through all of the basics, from starting a mailing list to experimenting with different prices. If you follow the instructions in this course, you should be primed and ready to sell your first 100 copies, if not many more. You can grab free access to this course right now by visiting www.authormarketinginstitute.com. That's right, totally free. So head on over and sign up to get instant access today. So with that out of the way, let's get on to today's topic. 3 small changes that will transform your writing overnight. There are only so many tricks to help you sell more books. You can have a blurb that's to die for, a cover that wins the monthly Book Designer Award, and a website with a ridiculous email sign-up rate. But when you've reached the pinnacle of marketing prowess, the only way to improve your book sales is to write better books. When you write fiction, improving your craft as you go is the equivalent of continuing education as a teacher or a doctor. Writing more words over time will help you improve, but finding specific ways to hone your craft will get you there faster. When a voracious reader finds your well-written book, particularly as the first chapter in a multi-part series, that reader will latch onto your books for the rest of time. Now it's up to you to make sure that your first book has engaging prose that keeps the pages turning. Here are 3 writing changes you can apply immediately that will help your fiction to flourish. Number 1. Write sentences with suspense. Most of us learned how to write a proper sentence back in middle school or high school. You probably studied your subjects, predicates, or punctuation marks until you were blue in the face. These well-meaning English teachers taught us how to make a sentence grammatically correct, but they didn't show us how to make it interesting. K.M. Weiland of Helping Writers Become Authors said that most storytellers have been writing sentences wrong all their lives. When you take a sentence for granted, you miss out on the opportunity to hook, guide, and fulfill the reader. One solution to the problem is writing periodic sentences. A periodic sentence, which author Robert McGee called suspense sentence, places emphasis right at the end. The first half of sentences should entice readers to keep reading, while the second half should serve as the payoff. And let's give you a few examples here. Example number 1. His book sales increased to 100 copies daily after 4 months of spending 3 hours a day on his craft. In the last 4 months, after spending 3 hours a day on his craft, his book sales increased to 100 copies a day. In the first example, the emphasis is on the time this writer spent working on his craft. In the second, we get the payoff of what happened as a result of his hard work. If you want readers to zip through your books and ask for more, then you should make the fundamental building blocks of your writing much more suspenseful. Number 2, show character emotion. Countless books and articles on craft will tell you that you need to show, not tell. The phrase has been repeated so often that it no longer seems to have any meaning. Trying to apply vague advice won't get you very far with your writing. A simple way to add more show to your prose is to demonstrate character emotions through non-verbal cues. In their book, The Emotion Thesaurus, A Writer's Guide to Character Expression, Angela Ackerman and Becca Pelusi said that readers aren't interested in being told how characters feel. They want to experience the emotion themselves. Ackerman and Pelusi found that in addition to using dialogue, authors could use physical signals, mental responses, and internal sensations to convey emotion on the page. Use your powers of observation as a writer, both internally and externally, to determine how your characters non-verbally express their emotion. Here are two examples. There was a loud clang in the other room. Patricia was scared as she'd ever been. Honey, is that you? Her voice was sad and afraid. Now the other example. There was a loud clang in the other room. Patricia held her breath. She attempted to speak, but her throat started to close up. She swallowed hard. Honey, is that you? Her voice was a shrill whisper through the hallway. Example 1 tells the reader how to feel. Example 2 gives the reader a chance to experience the emotions on his or her own. Trust your readers to understand these nonverbal cues, and they'll find themselves riveted until the book's final page. Number 3, make setting tell the story. For many authors, setting is nothing but a string of adjectives that add in to flesh out a second draft. They've been told that setting is important, but nobody ever told them that setting could be the linchpin for developing their characters. USA Today bestselling author Mary Buckham said in her book, Writing Active Setting, that setting can show characterization, create the world of your story, affect pacing, show conflict, change tension, implore emotion, and much more. While setting can orient readers to that time, place, and the social context of the story, it can also demonstrate a rich point of view for your characters. When you have multiple characters in your story, it's important to remember that each one will experience the world you've created in a different way. Buckham gives the example of how a typical 30-something housewife would observe the view from a city rooftop much differently than a discharged military sniper. While the former sees plain children and SUVs, the latter sees escape routes and potential threats. Here are two examples. Eric walked down the alleyway. When he got to the other side, he opened the front door to the diner. Here's the other example. Eric's shoulders relaxed as he entered the space between the two buildings. He didn't mind the rotten pumpkin beside the half-open dumpster or the droplets from above of water mixed with God knows what. For a moment or two, he could hide from this city, and that was worth the stench. He took a deep breath as he re-entered civilization and sunlight, yanking open the door to the diner before slamming it shut behind him. Now, we know a great deal more about Eric in the second example. While the first one gets us from point A to point B, the second one uses setting as part of the story. Readers tend to put a book down when it gets boring. Tying setting in with the characterization keeps your readers going. Better books are more marketable. Marketing on its own won't necessarily make your book a bestseller. Neither will writing the most compelling book in the world. But when you combine effective marketing with strong writing, however, you significantly increase your chances of selling more books. Now, these 3 tips will change your writing overnight, but you'll need to put in hours of work to implement them effectively. It's time to stop looking for the quick fix that will make you enough money to become a full-time author. The most effective trick remains building up a group of dedicated fans. When you employ suspenseful sentences, nonverbal emotional cues, and setting that tells a story, you'll be much more likely to hook new readers for good. And that will conclude today's podcast. To see a transcription of the show and to access other book marketing content, please visit www.authormarketinginstitute.com. You can also learn about our latest events for authors, or get access to our Author Marketing Academy Learning Center, and of course, become a member of the Author Marketing Club, a 25,000 plus author member community. That's www.authormarketinginstitute.com to get access to all of those great things. All right, so let's wrap it up for today. I'm Jim Kukrill, founder of the Author Marketing Institute, and we'll be back again for another show soon. Thanks again for listening, and don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes and share the show with your author communities. We would be grateful for your help in spreading the word. Bye for now.